Hello everybody and welcome to today's review of the Fantastic Four First Steps. It is the new film directed by Shakman, starring Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach. This is the latest installment to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this time we are focusing on the Fantastic Four, a group of astronauts who gained superpowers after being exposed to cosmic radiation in space. Ever since then, they have dedicated to use their powers for good. And not only is this a superhero team, this is a superhero family. The leader of the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards, aka Mr. Fantastic, is married to Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. Her brother is Johnny Storm, the Human Torch, and Ben Grimm, also known as The Thing, is a friend of the family who would eventually become the godfather to Reed and Sue's future child. At the very beginning of the film, Sue Storm announces to the whole family that she is in fact pregnant with her first child. However, their celebration is cut short when a galactic space alien known as the Silver Surfer comes down to Earth to announce to everyone that the planet is about to be destroyed by an intergalactic space entity known as Galactus. Now it is up to the Fantastic Four to try to figure out how to stop Galactus from consuming the whole planet. Now let me just start off by saying I am a huge Fantastic Four fanatic, as you can see. Ever since I saw the 2005 version directed by Tim Story, I have been hooked to this series. I love the simplicity of their powers, and I also love how they are as a family. They live together, they work together, and no matter what, they're always there for one another. And over the years, I've become very immersed in this sort of franchise. I've collected the comic books, I've watched the cartoon series, I even got this thing. So when I found out that Disney was planning to introduce the Fantastic Four into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you would think I would be more excited about it, right? Wrong. Believe it or not, I was actually dreading it. For a few reasons. First of all, the last time that we had a Fantastic Four movie, it was an abomination to cinema. And ever since Avengers Endgame, every single film, except Thunderbolts and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, has been a total letdown. The quality of these films have just dipped significantly, and I was afraid that they were going to do the same thing with this franchise, and that was something that I was just not prepared for. I did not want them to ruin the Fantastic Four, and I felt like this was just a sure thing. But as the release date got closer and closer, and a lot of the initial reactions were very positive, I started to feel a lot of hope. But I didn't want to hope. I just didn't want to be let down again. It was a very perplexed situation for me. But now I've seen the film, and you guys, I can breathe. This is a good movie, and thank God. What shocked me the most about this film is that it didn't feel like a Disney film. Hell, it didn't even feel like an MCU movie at all. This movie really felt like a break from a very formulaic approach, and instead it was made by a group of individuals who really wanted to bring something unique, fresh, and wholesome to a very popular franchise, and I am really glad for it. First of all, let's talk about the cast. Pedro Pascal plays the leader of the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards. He was an interesting choice. He definitely wouldn't have been my first pick. However, this guy is a phenomenal actor. Reed Richards is the smartest man in the world. He has a lot on his plate. Not only is he trying to balance his family life, but also he has a responsibility to protect the world. And you could see from his performance how stressful that can be. And behind every great man, there is of course a great woman. And Vanessa Kirby was just absolutely brilliant as Sue Storm. She is the sort of person that needed to play this role. She has a very strong characteristic, but she has a soft side as well. She is caring, she is nurturing, while at the same time she is ready to do absolutely anything to defend not only the people of Earth, but her son as well. And Joseph Quinn made a huge impression on me when I saw him portray a character in the Netflix series Stranger Things. So when he was cast in this part, I thought, yeah, this will work. And even though he is not given much of a chance to be a womanizer as Chris Evans was in the 2005 version, this movie did something what no other adaptation did before, and that is give Johnny Storm a chance to shine intellectually. And Ebon Moss-Bachrach, I have nothing bad to say. I mean, this guy was tailor-made for this role, and it was very reminiscent to something that I've already seen him play in the Hulu series The Bear. He's just this lovable uncle who is tough, street smart, but also possesses a hard Heart of Gold. And this film does this character justice, and so does Julia Garner as the Silver Surfer. Unlike the rest of the cast, I haven't really seen her in much of anything. I mean, I did hear that she did a good job in Ozark. I mean, I'd imagine so. She won 3 Emmys for that show. But she was absolutely terrific as the Silver Surfer. Her character is essentially the messenger of death. And underneath this silver facade that she has, you can tell that she is harboring a lot of grief and regret. And finally, let's talk about Galactus. I mean, because let's face it, the rise of the Silver Surfer just did that character dirty. I mean, a space cloud? Really? That's just ridiculous. But I'm happy to say that in First Steps, we finally got a comic book accurate version of Galactus. And Ralph Ineson, the guy who portrays him, not only was he the right voice for Galactus, but he really was able to capture the very essence of who Galactus was. He is not good. He is not evil. He is just this very ancient being who has no other choice but to consume thermal and organic energy in order to sustain his existence. Unfortunately, he destroys a lot of lives in the process, and it's a terrible thing. But he doesn't do this out of passion. He doesn't want to do this. He has to do this. And furthermore, Galactus presents the Fantastic Four with an extremely well-written moral dilemma. When the Fantastic Four first confronts Galactus, Galactus senses that Sue Storm is pregnant, and he also was able to detect a massive amount of energy that was coming directly from her fetus. He agrees to leave the planet in peace, but only on the condition that they give up the child to him. They not only have a responsibility to the planet, but also to their family. Because they had an opportunity to save the world and they chose not to take it, that makes them public enemy number 1 to the people of Earth. I mean, it's easy to say that you could sacrifice one individual for the safety and security of billions of other people, but how can a mother and father make that kind of decision? The script did a very good job at presenting the Fantastic Four with an impossible choice. However, like most movies within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this one does have its fair share of flaws. And it mostly comes down to the runtime. How the film progresses seems a bit rushed, and certain sequences seem a bit clunky altogether. Not only that, there is a lot going on in this film, but we don't have enough time to take it all in. For example, Ben Grimm has a love interest in the film, and every time those two were on screen together, it just put a smile on my face. And I wanted more of that, but the film doesn't even allow us to explore this kind of relationship further. Another example is Galactus. Now, he is portrayed accurately in this movie. However, if you've read the comic books like me, you will find that Galactus is a more complex character than the movie allows us to see. He is an essential part to what holds the universe together, and I just did not get that from this film. I mean, it was implied, but you don't really get to explore that aspect of this character, and I feel like that was just a wasted opportunity. The same goes with the Silver Surfer. There have been other interpretations of this character that shows the Silver Surfer really focusing on the people of Earth, and he becomes more and more sympathetic the more time he spends with them. However, in this movie, you don't really get to see that. The film was trying to cut out a lot of fat, but as a result, I think they cut out a lot of meat from this movie as well. And that was kind of disappointing. Everything else about this movie was, well, fantastic. I really appreciate how Matt Shakman gave this film a very 60s aesthetic, and the production design was absolutely stunning. The sets and the visuals were mostly done practically, none of this green screen crap that we've seen before in the MCU. And they really allowed this movie to breathe by sacrificing a lot of the comedy. Not to say that this movie is devoid of any humor. However, what really aggravated me about previous Marvel films is that there are a lot of times when a character will find themselves in very serious situations, and there's always that one character who has to crack a joke, and if the joke doesn't land, they pile on top of that joke, and on top of that joke, and again and again and again, until finally the character is rendered completely stupid. Now, to Disney, that might seem funny, but to me as a moviegoer, I find that a bit insulting. Every single bit of comedy in this movie came naturally. Overall, I really appreciate what Marvel and Disney did with the Fantastic Four. Despite whatever flaws this movie may have, I've come to the conclusion that this movie did exactly what it needed to do at the right time. I think it is a great tribute to a very classic group of superheroes that I grew up with, and as a fan of the comic book, I left pretty satisfied. And as a filmmaker, I think that all the artists and all the technicians involved were still able to create a very cohesive film, despite having a mega corporation like Disney at the helm. Did I want more out of it? Yes. Was what I got enough? Yes. And so for that reason, I'm going to give the Fantastic Four First Steps an A-. Thank you for watching my video, ladies and gentlemen. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you again next time.